Okay, so you're here for a reason. You're on a mission. You're hunting for that next big idea for 2026, something scalable, profitable, but, and this is the key part, something that doesn't need $1 million in seed funding just to get off the ground. You have the drive. We're here to tell you where to point it.
And that's exactly what this deep dive is all about. We've really cut through the noise. We've pulled together a fascinating set of sources. We're going beyond just, simple trend lists. We're synthesizing specialized logistics market analyses, academic reports on AI adoption in small and medium businesses, we call them SMEs, and even a really detailed look at how the chemical industry is shifting towards circularity, plus a special report on the silver economy.
Right. And the goal here isn't to just throw data at you. It's to pull out the handful of really actionable, high-impact ideas. We want to synthesize the most promising sectors for 2026, the ones being pushed forward by these huge global shifts in tech, sustainability, and demographics, and help you find that perfect sweet spot between a great idea and something you can actually build.
Ready? Let's get into it.
So when you look across all these reports, 2026 is not being framed as just another year. The consensus seems to be that we're heading into what one source actually called uncharted territory. And that speed, that velocity, is all coming from the pace of digital innovation we've seen lately.
That is the bedrock of all of this. Technology acceleration, things like AI, cloud computing, automation. These are no longer luxuries or, shiny toys for the big corporations. They are absolute strategic necessities. If you're starting a business today, you have to bake them in from day one.
So if we pull back and look at the whole economic landscape, where's the money actually going? What are the sectors with the biggest tailwinds right now?
We found three dominant sectors that are really poised for explosive growth through 2026. And instead of just listing numbers, let's talk about scale. AI and automation are really leading the pack. They're followed very closely by green energy, which is everything under that sustainability and circularity umbrella, and then health technology. All three are seeing double-digit growth rates, which means they're growing way faster than the general economy. That's where the smart money is going.
And I have to wonder if the consumer's actually driving this more than the corporations are. It just feels like the priorities of the average person are fundamentally shifting, and that's what's propping up all this data.
You absolutely hit on a key point there. It's a massive shift in consumer behavior. People are prioritizing sustainability, they're demanding these hyper-personalized experiences, and they just expect remote-first solutions now. Wanting green product isn't a niche thing anymore. It's mainstream. The sources are forecasting a 20% annual growth rate for green products and services through 2026. So if your venture can tap into efficiency, personalization, or sustainability, you are riding a very powerful wave. Guaranteed.
Okay, let's zero in on that massive AI and automation growth. If we all agree that adopting AI is essential, what does that mean for an entrepreneur who's starting lean? Because it sounds expensive.
It's actually the opposite. For a small or mid-sized business and SME, AI is the ultimate force multiplier. It lets a two-person team do the work of 8. And the most immediate, lowest capital opportunity in this whole space is AI-powered consulting services.
So setting up a business to help other small businesses adopt the tech, why is that specific market so hot?
That market is projected to fly past $30 billion by 2026. And it's because most small businesses, they just don't have the cash to hire an in-house data scientist. They know they need AI to compete, but they need an affordable expert to come in and just integrate the solutions for them. You don't need a huge office. You don't need massive capital. You need knowledge and a laptop.
Let's talk about the results, because that's where the ROI for the customer is just undeniable. I've heard the numbers on boosting revenue, but for a bootstrapping entrepreneur, is the real win just saving money, stopping the waste?
For a lean team, efficiency is everything. And while one survey did show 91% of small businesses using AI saw a revenue boost, the operational savings are often more immediate, more controllable. AI can cut operational costs by up to 30%. And think about what that really means. It means saving $500 to $2,000 every single month. Plus, you get back 20 or more hours of your time that you were wasting on manual tasks. That time is often the difference between scaling up or just treading water.
That really puts the cost benefit into focus. So if I'm an entrepreneur offering this AI consulting service, what are the, say, 3 core areas where I can immediately save my clients that 30%?
The sweet spots are marketing, operations, and the back office. In marketing and sales, you're offering hyper-personalization. And this isn't just, sticking a customer's first name in an email. AI can run what are called unsupervised clustering algorithms. Think of it like a smart sorting machine. It automatically groups your customers into these tiny niche segments you didn't even know you had, so your marketing budget goes way further. And you get predictive lead scoring. AI-powered CRMs can boost qualified leads by 50% just by telling your sales team who to call, not just how many people to call.
That's a huge competitive edge right there. Okay, what about just making the business run smoother?
For operations, it's all about foresight. Intelligent demand forecasting. It uses machine learning to look at seasonality, market trends, all your historical data to prevent costly inventory mistakes. Either running out of stock and losing sales or having too much stock and tying up your cash. And for any business with physical assets, machinery, vehicles, you sell them predictive maintenance, analyzing sensor data to fix equipment before it has a catastrophic failure.
And then the necessary evil. The back office.
Right, the back office. This is where the cheapest, easiest wins are. AI-powered finance tools use computer vision to just scan receipts, pull out the data, and automatically categorize all your expenses. It can cut accounting costs by up to half. But the one thing you have to stress to your clients is that the AI is only as good as the data they feed it. Their own unique proprietary data is. It's the high-octane fuel for the AI engine. That's their real edge.
It's clear AI is driving this digital efficiency. But what about the physical world? The sources keep pointing back to the green transition. Is the demand for sustainable goods, like new kinds of packaging, as big as the demand for AI consulting?
Oh, absolutely. That demand for green solutions we mentioned is creating incredible B2B opportunities. For a low capital entry, you could start with something like brokering or consulting on sustainable packaging solutions. Every e-commerce brand, every food and beverage company, they are all urgently looking for eco-friendly, biodegradable, reusable packaging. They have to.
But the bigger, more valuable opportunity is driven by this really deep structural shift, right? This move to a circular economy.
It's a fundamental change, moving from that old take, make, dispose model to a closed loop. We know that 90% of major chemical companies are seeing a high impact from this circularity transition. They're embedding it into their corporate strategy. They're not just recycling bottles anymore. They're fundamentally rethinking their entire business model.
Rethinking how, though? It's not just about recycling anymore.
Correct. We have what are called the R strategies: refuse, rethink, reduce, repair, reuse, and so on. They're all designed to decouple profit from just consuming resources. And this creates brand new business models like outcome-based or leasing models. A great example is chemical leasing. The supplier doesn't sell you a tank of chemicals. They sell you the performance or the result of those chemicals, which gives them an incentive to use less. This whole shift creates huge new demands on the logistics side of the economy.
And that's where the entrepreneur comes in. You don't need to own a factory, but you can service the new way these businesses have to operate. So let's focus on the logistics ideas that fit our low capital rule.
Exactly. First up, there's reverse logistics. This is just handling goods moving backward through the supply chain. Returns, repairs, recycling, resale. As the volume of online returns just explodes, this whole process becomes more and more complex and valuable. It's a high-touch service that's all about coordination, not massive assets, which makes it a great low-capital entry point.
And what about the most accessible way to get into the world of freight?
That would be freight forwarding. You basically act as the expert coordinator. You don't own the trucks or the ships. You just coordinate the transport, handle the customs paperwork, arrange delivery for companies. It's a relationship business. Now, let's be realistic about the capital. It's low capital compared to owning assets, but you will need to get licensing and secure a surety bond, which is typically $75,000 in the U.S. So it's a high-value, moderate capital entry, but commissions are strong, 5 to 15%.
Okay, so contrast that with the really high capital option in that same sector.
That would be cold chain logistics. This is specialized transport for things that are temperature-sensitive vaccines, pharmaceuticals, specialty foods. The demand is massive and steady, but it requires a huge investment in refrigerated trucks, monitoring systems, and you have to deal with very strict compliance. This is a business to grow into, not one to start with if your capital is tight.
So moving from materials to people, we have to talk about the huge demographic shift that's happening everywhere. The aging population, the silver economy. You look at a place like Hong Kong, and the population aged 65 and over is projected to grow from 26% to a staggering 36% by 2046. That's a seismic economic shift.
It is, and it creates an urgent tech-driven demand. What's so interesting is that the goal is shifting. It's now about keeping the elderly safely and comfortably in their own homes for as long as possible. And that drives a huge demand for assistive and remote technologies.
So we're looking for low capital tech solutions that support that trend. What specifically is growing in that health tech space?
We're seeing huge growth in remote monitoring systems, simplified health management apps, and really importantly, communication robots. They're designed to help with loneliness and supplement caregiving. Since home care is the preference, any technology that improves safety and just makes life easier is essential.
And the sources had some really creative Japanese examples of how deep this specialization can go.
They did. We're seeing things like robotic care beds, portable ECG devices that talk directly to doctors, and social robots that engage with users. And the key thing here is that in many places, governments are actually funding this shift. Hong Kong, for instance, injected another billion Hong Kong dollars in grants specifically to expand the use of elderly tech products that are suitable for home use. So you might find a government program that supports your market entry.
Beyond elder care, what are maybe two other people-focused, service-based niches that are high value but still low capital?
We shift back to personalization. First, personalized health and wellness tech. This is the next level for wearables and mobile apps that analyze your nutrition, your sleep, your stress. Consumers are willing to pay a premium for personalized, actionable insights that help them live better.
And for the B2B side, is there a service that uses the gig economy for these high-value transactions?
The fractional executive services marketplace. This is a brilliant idea. Small and mid-sized businesses, they need the expertise of a chief financial officer or chief operating officer, but they can't afford a $300,000 salary. So you build a network of experienced executives who are willing to work part-time or fractionally, and you charge the small business a subscription or a commission. It's all network, knowledge, coordination. Very low capital, very high value.
Okay, we've covered a lot. AI, leasing models, fractional executives. Let's bring this right back to the basics. If someone listening has, say, $20,000 and they want to start lean tomorrow, service businesses are still the safest, most scalable entry point. They demand hustle more than they demand capital.
That's the reality check. Yeah. The low barrier services, pressure washing, window cleaning, appliance repair, they are great starting points. Appliance repair is especially recession resistant. People will fix a broken fridge before they go out and buy a new one. And this is where you bring AI back in. Your competitive edge in a low capital service isn't the skill itself, it's the efficient application of technology. AI for scheduling, AI for marketing, that's what makes you different.
Now let's use that logistics data to draw a really clear line in the sand on capital commitment.
We have to be clear about the trade-offs. If your goal is truly low capital, your focus should be on logistics consulting. Startup costs are minimal, $1,000 to $15,000. Profitability is almost immediate. Your revenue, based on retainer fees, can run up to $250,000 a year.
Then that you start moving up the capital ladder from there.
Correct. The next step up is actually moving things, like a last mile or cargo van delivery business. That's going to require $5,000 to $60,000 for the vehicle, the permits, and you can hit profit in maybe 3 to 6 months. The high capital models, like warehousing, are the complete opposite. You're talking $100,000 to $2 million just to start, and 9 to 18 months before you even break even. Your choice of business model has to align with your budget and your risk tolerance first.
And once that model is chosen, the practical startup steps are pretty much the same for everyone. Where do we focus first?
After you assess your skills and choose your model, you need a serious business plan, and it has to include a mandatory break-even analysis. You need to know the day your income finally covers your fixed expenses. And if you plan to move goods, you have to navigate the legal stuff early, getting your USDOT and MC numbers and securing liability insurance. For transportation, that insurance is non-negotiable. It runs from $750,000 up to $5 million.
Which means that final step of getting financing and investing in tech is absolutely crucial.
It is. And don't skip the critical tech. A transportation management system, a warehouse management system, even if it's a light cloud-based one, that infrastructure is what will allow for that AI-driven efficiency, which is your whole competitive advantage. And finally, build your customer base by starting with your existing professional network.
And a final word on common mistakes to avoid.
Never, ever operate without clear customer contracts or liability waivers. Don't underestimate your real startup costs. Always add 20% to whatever you estimate. And most critically, never let poor data management kill your growth. If you don't have that high-octane fuel, the AI engine just won't run.
So as you're refining your profitable, scalable idea for 2026, the source material really points to two drivers you just can't ignore. First, that shift to AI-driven efficiency. This is about speed, personalization, automation. It turns your small team into a real force multiplier.
And second, that irreversible shift to the circular economy and green solutions. This is creating entirely new, high-value business models. Whether you're servicing the needs of reverse logistics, consulting on chemical leasing, or offering tech for the exploding silver economy.
That structural focus on circularity really is the key takeaway, because it forces everyone, even a tiny startup, to completely rethink their supply chain.
It does. The move to a circular economy means you have to stop thinking about a linear supply chain and start thinking about a circular value network. And that demands collaboration beyond traditional industry silos. Think about the chemical sector working with the automotive sector on advanced EV battery recycling. They're unlikely partners, but they're essential for that network to function.
That raises a final provocative thought for you to think about. How can your new venture, no matter how small it starts, build resilience and an advantage by integrating an unlikely partner into its value network?
Finding that synergy, that surprising collaboration outside your normal zone, that might just be the secret competitive advantage you need to dominate in 2026.
We hope this deep dive gave you the clarity and the facts you needed to start strong. Until next time.